Hey friends and collectors, welcome back to Ol'SargeCollects. My name is Danny and this is episode 6 of the Diamond Stars set. And last episode, just to recap, we covered Johnny Vergas and Jimmy Wilson and Bill Hallahan, Sparky Adams, and that was episode 4, but episode 5 was a short episode, and that's because I had a new acquisition, and Mickey Cochran arrived, and I was really excited about sharing this with y'all, so I made a short video sharing Mickey Cochran with you. Well, we got a good lineup today. And the first player that we're going to be talking about is Walter Berger. And so this card is from 1935. It's card number 25, and this is in a PSA 4. And here's a little bit about Walter Berger. He was born in 1905 in Chicago. He made his major league debut as an outfielder for the Boston Braves in 1930. And Wally set a major league record his rookie year by hitting 38 home runs, and his record stood for 57 years until Mark McGwire's 49 homers in 1987. He's one of 5 players in major league history to hit 20 or more home runs in their rookie year before July. The other 4 players are all modern players, starting with Albert Pujols. Wally started in the inaugural Major League Baseball All-Star Game in 1933. He then went on to appear in 5 consecutive All-Star Games. In 1935, he was the National League home run leader and the RBI leader. And after having a few injuries in 1936, he was traded to the New York Giants in 1937. He made an appearance in the 1937 World Series, where the Giants lost the series to the Yankees. And in 1938, he was traded to Cincinnati. While with Cincinnati in 1939, he made another World Series appearance, and the Reds lost that series to the Yankees. And Walter ended his career in 1940 playing with the Phillies, and he died at the age of 83 in 1988. So, what I especially like about this card is I like the gold railing of the dugout that he's sitting in, and you can barely see some players' heads above his shoulder, but I like the Braves logo on his uniform as well. And on the back, it's a green back, and the tip on the back is for batting, and it really talks about your footing and your stance as a batter. And so that is Wally Berger. And the next card is one that I especially like, and that is of the player Pepper Martin. And so, here's a little bit about Johnny Leonard Roosevelt Pepper Martin. He was born in 1904 in Temple, Oklahoma. He made his major league debut as an outfielder for the St. Louis Cardinals in 1928. He was a member of the famous Gas House Gang. Pepper was called up from the minors in 1928 and made one appearance during the 1928 World Series, where the Cards lost to the Yankees. After the World Series, he was sent back down to the minors. So he spent the 1929 and 1930 seasons in the minors and was once again called back up to the Cardinals. Pepper had some hustle and helped the team clinch the pennant and ultimately go to win the 1931 World Series, where he batted .500 and set a record of 12 hits in a series. And even John McGraw made a comment about him, saying he described Martin's performance as the greatest individual performance in the history of the World Series. Martin started as a third baseman in the inaugural Major League Baseball All-Star Game in 1933. And in 1934, with St. Louis, he went back to the World Series, and Pepper again had a stellar World Series record, posting a .355 average. He played 10 years in the major leagues, all with St. Louis Cardinals. During his tenure with the Cardinals, he was a 4-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ, and 3-time National League stolen bases leader. In 1940, he was assigned by the club to be the player manager for a minor league team, and eventually he retired as a player. He managed for the next 20 years. As a manager, he had a hot temper, and this is kind of funny. Once, he was suspended for a season for choking an umpire. He was elected to the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame, and Pepper Martin died in 1965. So I'm going to tell you what I really like about this card is his facial expression and his batting stance. I really like the contrast with colors with that really rich blue sky. This card represents very well that era with that Art Deco style. And, I really love the details in the uniform and his facial expression. So on the back, it's a blue back, and again, this card is from 1935. It's a blue back, and it gives you tips on running. So that's card number 26, Pepper Martin, and that was an SGC 4. All right, the next player is a Hall of Famer. And this player is also someone who recently appeared on a friend of mine, Shane, over at Shoebox Legends. When he was giving me a shout out, he showed this card, and ironically, this card is also making an appearance on my video. So let's learn a little bit about Harold Joseph Pie Traynor. This is a card is from 1935. It's an SGC 4. So Pie Traynor was born in 1898 in Framingham, Massachusetts. He made his major league debut as a third baseman for the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1920. So I've often wondered, why does he have the nickname Pie? So as a kid, Harold loved pie, which is how he earned his nickname. He was called Pie Face until later it was shortened to Pie. So for his first 2 years in the majors, the Pirates didn't really play Pie that often. Then in 1922, he became the Pirates' regular third baseman. Following the advice from Rogers Hornsby, he began using a heavier bat in 1923 and blossomed into one of the best hitters in the National League. During his 17-year career, he batted over 310 times. He was elected to the inaugural 1933 All-Star team and made another All-Star appearance in 1934. His Pirates were the 1925 World Series champs. His overall batting average was .320, that's lifetime, and he accumulated 2,416 hits. Pie Traynor was considered the best fielding third baseman of his era. He became the Pirates player manager in 1934 and retired as a player in 1937. So this card, being in 1935, it actually references him as a player manager on the back. He later resigned as manager after 5 seasons and eventually took a job as a radio sports broadcaster in Pittsburgh for the next 21 years. In 1971, Pie Traynor threw out the first pitch of the Game 3 of the 1971 World Series at Three River Stadium. He died the following year in 1972, and his jersey number 20, was retired by the Pirates posthumously. And what I really like about this card is him in the batting stance, and the artwork on his face was really detailed. I like that. There's a lot of color contrast going on here with 4 different colors in the background. But I like the details of his uniform and that sleeve right here. On the back, it's a green back, and it gives batters tips or batting tips, talking about being in the batter's box. And it talks about how much it measures and where you should stand in the batter's box. So that is Pie Traynor. And that card is a SGC 4. Now the last card is of another Hall of Famer, and that is Al Lopez. And this card is also from 1935 in an SGC4. So let's learn a little bit about Alfonso Ramon Lopez. He was born in 1908 in Tampa, Florida. He made his major league debut as a catcher for the Brooklyn Robins in 1928. So that was during the time when the Dodgers were called the Robins. And in 1932, they became the Dodgers. He went back and forth between the majors and the minor leagues for 2 years until he was made Brooklyn's primary catcher in 1930. Lopez spent the next 17 years as a catcher in the big leagues, playing for various teams such as the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Boston Beavs, which were the Braves, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and ended his playing career with the Cleveland Indians in 1947. During this 17-year career, he was a two-time All-Star in 1934 and 1941. From 1947 to 1950, he successfully managed a Pirates affiliate minor league team. He was then selected to manage the Cleveland Indians in 1951 and stayed on as manager until 1956. His winning percentage is still the best in franchise history. In 1957, he was selected as manager of the Chicago White Sox, and in 1959, he took the White Sox to the World Series, but unfortunately, they lost to the Dodgers. He managed the White Sox until 1965 and had a brief stint as an interim manager in the 1968 and 69 seasons. And in 18 seasons as a minor league and major league manager, he never had a losing record. His 584 winning percentage is ninth all-time in Major League Baseball history. Al Lopez was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1977, and he died in 2005. This is probably my favorite card in the set, maybe between this and Pepper Martin, but I'll tell you what I love about this card. It's always these catcher's cards that really inspire me. So what I love about this card is, you've got a pop fly and he's throwing off his mask, and I love seeing the little marks right here indicating that his mask has been thrown off, and he's popping up out of the catcher's stance, to field this pop fly. I absolutely love the artistry of this image, and really, that's the best thing about it. I could go on about the different, color variations or contrast in color, but that is really the best part, is that catcher stance and that mask flying off. It's just really fun to look at. So on the back, it's a greenback. This card is from 1935, and it talks about fielding, and it talks about how catchers must shift their feet for a throw to the bases. It talks basically about the catcher's fielding and a catcher's stance. So that is also an SGC4. So I had a full house of SGC4s today. And so I hope you all enjoyed this video. These are the stars for today. And until next time, y'all take care.